Mike, thanks much. So what about millennials? Well, as they emerge as a major voting bloc this election season, a new survey is out by the College Republican National Committee on the most important issues for young swing voters. And it finds, among other things, that they want a candidate who is kind to people of all walks of life, well-spoken communicator, cares deeply about racial equality, is not afraid to fight tough fights, but focused on making things happen while working extremely hard. Joining me now, Alexander Smith, chair of College Republican National Committee, and Kristen Soltis Anderson, Washington Examiner columnist and Republican pollster. Ladies, some fascinating finds in this survey. As I mentioned in the introduction, it's swing Republican voters, or is it just swing millennials, Alexandra?
This was actually an 800-person survey of all 18 to 29-year-olds because we really wanted to get a sense for how young millennials were feeling in general. In fact, young independents make up the majority of the millennial voting bloc. So we wanted to really understand how they were feeling because they will help, in turn, shape the rest of the election.
So, Kristen, what's really interesting is that the one thing that really jumped out, and it could be a challenge for the GOP, is that they are facing a massive caring gap, apparently, with millennials. What does that mean?
We asked respondents to tell us, do they think that the Republican Party or the Democratic Party cares more about a whole bunch of different issues? Even on things like the national debt, young voters were pretty divided about who they think cares more. And certainly on things like promoting equality or making the economy grow, they were favoring Democrats slightly over Republicans. But the good news for Republicans is that we tested a lot of messages about how if you open up the economy, if you move power away from Washington and into the hands of the people so that bottom-up growth can happen, that younger voters, they like that language. They're not used to hearing Republicans talk that way, and they want to hear more.
Okay, it's really fascinating when we look at what might happen if you could actually build your own ideal candidate. So here were some of the things that they said was very important to them. Fixing failing public schools. I'm with them on that one. Promoting clean energy. Reducing the national debt. Pay equality for women. Another good one. Addressing poverty. Student loan reform. I'm actually surprised, Alexandra, that student loan reform was not even higher because so many of these kids that you were talking to probably had a lot of debt still.
Absolutely. It's one of the top issues for millennials. There's over $1 trillion in student loan debt. So this is really inhibiting millennials' abilities to pay the bills, to move out of mom and dad's basement. But I think what's particularly interesting about that is that we also offered choices in that same survey for example, free college or government subsidies to pay for higher education. Yet millennials were more interested in how do we pay for higher education ourselves? How do we reform some of these student loan policies to make it easier to pay for college? So they're not just about free handouts. They really want to do this on their own. They're just looking for it to be a little bit easier.
Some very, very interesting insights. One other footnote that I will just add is that in a poll last week, it was fascinating to see that the same age group had really turned to Donald Trump, at least in that national poll. So we will have to see how this plays out. Alexandra, Kristen, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So, moments away now from what's being billed is a major foreign policy speech from Hillary Clinton. She's also expected to come out swinging hard at Donald Trump. You're not going to want to miss any of this. That's going to happen when we come back.